How crazy are the rules in Formula One? I mean, the recent Belgian Grand Prix, when the rain came dumping down for the whole weekend. And by the way, I love rain affected races because it throws everybody's strategy into chaos. It makes little prima donna drivers worried about wetting their little booties, whereas the other guys that are more like rugged and ready take it on and accomplish amazing things. But when the rain comes down, there are so many rules in Formula One that nobody really knows what's going on. Everybody's radioing, everybody checking with the officials, race officials. When did the race start? When does it end? How many laps? Can he start from the pit lane? Is he allowed to restart the race? La 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 la. And yet, people seem to be very averse to God's rules. But God's rules are way simpler and way more clear and way more practical and accessible than any law or any rule that any man could ever make. Way back in the Old Testament, we have the 10 Commandments in Exodus chapter 20. 10 things. Keep these 10 things, and you're perfect and you go to heaven. Well, nobody can keep them. And so we need Jesus, because he's the perfect man and he fully fulfilled the requirements of God. And if those 10 seem to be too complicated for us, those are distilled further in the prophet Micah. He says, what does the Lord require of you? Live justly, walk humbly, and act mercifully. Basically what they are. Walk humbly before your God, love mercy, and live justly. Three things. When Jesus was asked in the New Testament times, what's the greatest commandment? And the lawmakers, the legalists of the day, thought, the religious people, the church of the day, thought they could catch him out, because since the 10 Commandments, they had added over 600 laws to the 10 laws of God. They thought, now we got him. And Jesus summed it up in 2. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And he didn't leave it there. He said, if you keep these 2, they fulfill the whole of the law and the prophets, the whole of the Old Testament, all 39 books of the Old Testament. And if we're still balking and kicking against law and rules, although sport in general and F1 in particular are obsessed with rules, it's crazy. If we still don't understand that, the Bible shows us clearly that laws are always an expression of God's love. They receive the 10 Commandments when they've been delivered from bondage and slavery and oppression and violence and exploitation and death in Egypt. And they arrive at Mount Sinai, having seen the 10 plagues, been to the Red Sea, arrive at the mountain of Mount Sinai, and they receive the law of God, which Stephen in the New Testament calls the living words. I just love that description. Laws are an expression of love. But in a world where there's no understanding what love is, we love ice cream and we love our dog, and then we say we love our wife until a hotter, younger thing comes along. Or we love our job until a better offer comes along. So love is a very, in the world's thinking and people's thinking in general, it's something that fluctuates a lot. So we don't really know what love is. So why are we still trying to define it? And how many poems, how many songs have been written about love? I want to know what love is. I want you to show me just one. We don't know what love is. Jesus does, because he gave himself for us. When we understand that love expresses itself in laws, and in response to those laws, love expresses itself in obedience, then we have brought laws and love back together, just like the Bible does, just like God does, just like Jesus does. And then laws are not arbitrary. Rules are not made to be broken. Rules are there to stop us from breaking others and ourselves. Rules are an expression of relationship. So if you want to be an F1 driver, you obey the rules. Take it or leave it. If you want to play sport, if you want to win, how do we know who's going to win? Obey the rules. I like what Nick Mallett said recently. The Springboks are the best team in the world at playing according to the rules. I mean, we are the current Rugby Championship champions, World Cup champions, and we just gave that 4-in-1, 4 nations playing against one joke called the British Lions, gave them a hiding and sent them packing. But how do we know we won? Because there's rules, and there's even a guy on the field running around with a whistle reminding everybody about the rules. But when it comes to God's law, loving God and loving others, then suddenly rules are up for debate, and it's your life, and this is how I feel, and if I want to sleep around, drink around, steal, like somebody said, love your neighbor, just don't get caught. It's only a crime when you get caught, and in this country that doesn't even matter, because you can bribe a lawyer, bribe a judge, bribe a warden, walk out of jail. We drive down the road, and Josh McDowell is the first to describe it like this. In terms of lanes in a swimming pool, I'm going to use lanes on a road. I mean, as chaotic as our streets are, and as obsessed as people are with breaking the rules of the road, most people still stop at a red light. Of course, you get a few guys who go chasing through, and a couple of taxis who go chasing through. But the majority of people stop at a red light. The majority of people will stay on their side of the road unless their day is way more important than somebody else's, and they need to rush off, and so they go across a solid line, or whatever the case might be. But the only reason we have any chance of getting home in one piece at the end of the day, and that, by the way, is not a given. We should sit down as a family, hold hands, and thank God that we're at home in one piece, because many people will not get home today, tragically, because some idiot did not respect and appreciate that laws are for everyone. People will die today because a lot of people don't care about that. But the only reasonable expectation you and I have of getting anywhere in one piece and getting back again is the hope that most people will obey the law. So let's have a bigger view of life, a bigger view of ourselves, a bigger view of God, and understand what laws are really for. And life is a race. Life is a race. And there's only one way to win. And that's to follow the law of God, which is summed up in the person of the Lord Jesus Christ. So tell me what you think. Thank you for the feedback on my last video. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy.